What's in a name? In the case of the place known as Grogan, there is a whole history that is tied to several sports across the country.
Well, Grogan derived its name from a white settler who left the country in 1910, over 50 years before the country gained independence.
Well, he died in South Africa in 1967, yet Grogan did leave his mark as evidenced by the sport named after him and in several other sports that bear the evidence of the impact of his life in Kenya.
Well, here's this week's segment of our 50th Independence Anniversary series with Wilkister Nyabwa.
At the heart of the city, the artisans slave under the glare of the sun, keen to make up for lost time. They have only just come to an agreement after a row over the little corner on land on which their establishments sit. One will not find a sign proclaiming that this is Grogan, but the workers here know no other name for a place whose history they have gathered in bits and pieces over the years and passed from one to another.
The name Grogon ilitoka kwa settler fulani mzungu wa kitambo sana.
Alikuwa analinda hii kiwanja kutoka huko Globe mpaka huko chini.
Kwa hivyo jina Grogon lilitoka kwa jina lake, alikuwa anaitwa Grogan.
During the Africanization, when all these streets were changing name, Tomboya Street, Government Road and all that names, so when they changed them to Kirinyaga, people don't usually familiarize very quickly.
Yet while their estimation of how the lot got its name is accurate, the whole tale leads one right across the town. Chiromo House stands smack in the middle of the University of Nairobi's Chiromo campus. Almost 100 years after it was built, it still bears the initials of the man who built it. Ewart Scott Grogan built and moved into the house in 1905. After an adventurous life that had seen him volunteer in the Matabeleland uprising in Zimbabwe. When he returned to New Zealand, he met the great love of his life, Gertrude Watt. In order to convince her father to allow him to marry her, he undertook the great walk from Cape to Cairo, accomplishing the feat in 2.5 years and winning his bride, whom he brought to his new house. He named his new home Chiromo, after a village in Malawi.
When Grogan was coming from South Africa, he arrived at a place in Malawi called Chiromo, where all his luggages were stolen. On arriving here, because Chiromo in Malawi is between two rivers, and this place was almost equivalent to Chiromo in Malawi, he named it after the name in Malawi, Chiromo.
But Ewart was often away, and Gertrude was so lonely, eventually she went back home. Just 5 years after moving in, Ewart sold the house, but he left on the house stamps of his identity. Grogan is believed to have been a Freemason. The new owner, Macmillan, died in 1930, and the house was eventually bequeathed to the University of Nairobi, which built a campus around it.
The wartime British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was housed here. American President Roosevelt was also housed here.
And thus you would imagine the story ended, but not so fast. Before his departure, Grogan had donated land on which a hospital was built named after his beloved wife. This would be the first of the group of Gertrude's children's hospitals. The little stretch of land through which Kirinyaga Road now runs was also part of Grogan's vast holdings. Though the land found new owners, it would forever be known to workers here as Grogan.
Particularly when the older generation were coming, that is the name they usually prefer. You know, normally when you change a name, people don't move so fast with it.
The Chiromo University campus, Gertrude's hospitals, and the corner known as Grogan all intertwined in history, and yet only Grogan still bears a corrupted form of the name of the man who lived here. Wilkister Nyabwa for the 50-year series.